So, welcome to Bedlam. This is Christopher Brookmeyer's Bedlam. Right, so this is my second try on this video. The first time, my voice didn't record at all for some reason, so I'm talking over the footage that I've already recorded instead of doing it over again because it was some alright footage, so I'm just gonna do that, and I keep getting deeper and deeper into the story, and I don't want to spoil some of the, like, really late stuff, so instead of recording again at a later time in the story, I'm just gonna record over what I already had. So, yeah. This is Bedlam. Bedlam is an FPS, and you don't see a lot of indie FPS right now, because FPS is a fairly expensive genre to make in terms of the resources required, both in art, assets, programs, things like that, and just literal actual money to put into them. FPS are quite expensive, and you don't see indie FPS enough, so this is one. It is in early access right now, but it is mostly quite done. The story isn't quite finished yet, all of the levels aren't in, and there's some balancing stuff to be done, and a couple of bug fixes here and there, but they've done a good job so far of keeping up on that, so welcome, here we are. This is Sacred Reign. So, what is Bedlam exactly? It's a book, which I believe is, what the title is about, Christopher Brookmeyer. But it is also a game. You're welcome. Video's over. So, it is an FPS, ooh, crossbow, that is, it's a single-player story-based FPS, and the idea is you are a lovely Scottish woman, her voice is great, I'm sorry, but it is, stuck in a video game. And I know what you're thinking, the whole, we're a video game. Well, this game does it in a way that's really refreshing to me. So, oftentimes you see the idea that a video game knows it's a video game, and you see a lot of referential humor and things like that. But it's often done in a really cringy way, and honestly, sometimes kind of pretentious. I've got to be honest, but this game does it flawlessly, which is one of the reasons I've been enjoying it so much. The game is kind of hard to describe, but it does it so well. The idea that it knows it's a game, and there's a lot of video game culture references, some referential humor, some self-deprecating, indie dev humor and things like that, but it's not cringy. It actually has a fairly serious story, and it just pulls it off so well. It's quite respectful to the video game scene in general. It's like I mean, the devs are obviously gamers, clearly, but they know, this game is almost about, like, growing up in culture. You start off in, like, some very old FPS style games with fairly poor graphics and things like that, and you end up in some crazy stuff. For instance, just a few levels before this, the Sacred Reign is obviously, I'm not 100% sure what it's based on. It kind of reminds me of Painkiller, actually. It's a very gothic horror theme. You actually go to basically a Pac-Man ripoff. You're actually in a first-person view in the tunnels of Pac-Man collecting pellets and chili peppers with the ghosts as Mexican sugar skulls. But you're in an FPS view, and you can actually look up at the sky like that, and you'll see the map, the 2D map, as if you were playing Pac-Man, basically, and you can actually navigate entirely like that, like looking up. It's really interesting, and the one before that, I was in a Space Invaders-like area. It was, basically Space Invaders, and you could look up like that and actually see them coming down, dancing in the sky, and you had to shoot up at them. Very interesting.
It is real. We've got to warn people. Run for the bridge. You have to get through the glitch before the corruption reaches it.
Yeah.
Game over.
So there's quite the story going on, and you're going through these glitches into other video game worlds. Now this is where some voice acting happens, so I'm gonna shut up and let you hear it.
Of all the avatars I could have been spawned as, I get stuck with this 90s abortion. Why can't they change it? The model's not even female. Bloody low-budget indie developers. I suppose I should be grateful I didn't find myself in a leopard skin loincloth and a push-up bra for some character designer to wank over.
Athena, you make it out of Calastria in one piece? I heard the integrity hit it hard.
Yes, I got out. Where are you?
On a transit through Quake 4. Normally I hate rail sections, but it's the quickest route to the glitch that'll take me to Planet Fire. I think it's gonna be all or nothing when we get there.
Buzzkill, the corruption is real. I saw it with my own eyes. It was tearing through Calastria. It was erasing the place.
Jesus. Calastria's gone.
Deleted. A teenager's browsing history when his girlfriend comes round. Buzzkill, I know I'm new here, but could it be that the Integrity aren't the big bad in all this? Maybe we're reading too much into their wardrobe.
I'm not sure of anything anymore. I mean, nobody wants stuck in like Leisure Suit Larry forever. But if the alternative means that there'll be no worlds left, I don't know. The Gameverse is all I have. I've lived here longer than in the old world.
What's the last thing you remember?
I was 22. I was in hospital. I needed some tests. What about you?
It was my first day at a new job. I'd just started with this company that makes neurological scanners. I was hired to design the modelling software for rendering 3D images of the scans.
Hey, I worked in computers too. Not always legally, I gotta say. I still miss the old world, but this place is my home now. So if it all gets erased by the corruption, like Format C, I guess that's the end for everybody.
What about these originals that you told me about? Couldn't they do something?
Maybe, if we could find any. The ones who haven't been captured have got in the hand.
But there are still originals out there. Hello?
Ronnie, I'm losing you.
And that's where I fell and died. My bad. There was a quick save, so let's use it this time. Anyway, so yeah, there is definitely a story, and hopefully I can make this... There we go. You're kind of seeing it. So, the voice actress for your character is phenomenal. She pulls off the lines very well. She is hilarious, and all of her attitude and everything is very... It's expected. She fits in the universe. The way she reads off her lines and everything is pretty phenomenal, actually, and the other voice actors that you were hearing there, the other lady in particular, they're all really good. All of the voice actors for the other characters, the actual people, the people that are meant to be humans, are really good. The idea is that all of those other people you're interacting with, besides the AIs of the game, are other gamers and various people that are stuck in these worlds. And the people that are making it farther, the people that are surviving the longest, are humans that have had experience with games. So, you know, it's kind of survival of the fittest in this mysterious world, and gamers are the ones that are making it the farthest. The idea is super interesting. These glitch areas, you're seeing various assets from the game areas you've visited and things like that before, and there's also a very huge variety of weapons, a pretty large collection so far. You see I found this weird, like, Unreal Tournament / Quake rail rifle thing. It's almost like the railgun. Yeah. There are a lot of weapons from various eras of FPS and things like that, and it gets weirder than that, as you're about to see. So, as soon as I walk through this glitch, well, you might be surprised what level we're going to next. So, just keep an eye on this. Behold! An RTS.
Behold the sprawling majesty of Age of Attrition. 2.
Yeah. Basically, I'm in Age of Empires /
Who are
StarCraft.
you? Why can't I move? Put
/
me
Warcraft.
down. No. On second thoughts, don't. Jesus! Ah! I am bastard.
Everything she says is golden to me. She really pulls off the attitude in her lines perfectly.
Oh, thank God.
So, this is something that I wanted to kind of end the video with, as far as the ideas this game pulls off.
Would you mind calling off your minions while we talk?
Your level design in this game, developers, is great.
You need to do something
It's
about
not
the
just
corruption.
the idea
It's
that
real.
you are
I've seen it.
going through the history of first-person shooters and things like that. You're going through the history of gaming in general. You're going through so many games, and the important part is that they're not just window dressing. They're not just environments for the same gameplay. They are actually themed levels. Like the Pac-Man level, for instance, was, I mean, you had to play it like Pac-Man. You had guns, yes. So when you collected the power pellets, which were actually chili peppers, you could shoot the ghosts. But the levels are themed just like the Space Invaders one, like the game they come from, essentially, and that leads to some really fun anachronisms. Like that you saw I had that an MP40. I was in a World War II game earlier, but I also had my other weapons, so I had ray guns and stuff in World War II, and the main character actually commented on that. And this, for instance, is obviously an RTS, and it's playing like an RTS. Like, I am giant with all these small enemies and things everywhere. There's a staff weapon that it allows me to pick up stuff like telekinetically and things like that I can of course take to other levels with me. And I'm fighting units. Yeah, I'm fighting RTS units, only as a first-person giant. And you can even see in the sky there, like, the other player's view. It's great. They've put so much effort and time into their theme with this one. They've really, really thought about what they want to do. They've been very clever, in my opinion, with the gameplay they actually want to provide with you. They have made sure that every level feels different. For instance, the World War II era are kind of like the earlier Medal of Honor games. They're very open, very wide open, lots of buildings, people sniping at you and things like that. The earlier FPS level, the first level, Starfire, is kind of Doom-like, almost. It's definitely old school, and it's very, that's very satisfying, by the way, destroying tank units with the staff. I'm basically a hero unit. The first level is somewhat maze-like, but quite straightforward, with kind of wide-open outside areas and cramped industrial internal areas. The game is not just going through with a single theme. It's going through with the theme of, we're a game, let's take the player through some of the history of gaming, but not in an annoying or kitschy or pretentious way, in a really respectful, almost, I would dare to say, educational way, but very, very fun, and the theme of every level actually is pulled off really well. Like you're seeing here, this is not like the level we were just in, not even close. It's not like it's just window dressing with a funny joke that wears off after the first 30 seconds from when you land. It is an RTS, and I'm not like the other enemies. The enemies are RTS units. I love what they've done. Again, this game is an early access, so that's a caveat for you, but there's a lot here. I have very good feelings about where this game is going. It's not complete story-wise, and there are some issues, which I'll talk about in just a second, but the main idea, more or less, is that it is very clearly going in a direction. The developers know what they want to do with it, and they are pulling it off so damn well. The voice acting is great, the level design is phenomenal, the themes are awesome, and the writing is really good. Look, the whole we know we're a video game thing has been done a lot, but it hasn't been done this well in a long time, in my opinion. It's actually been done so rarely well that when people see the idea that a game is going to do the self-referential humor thing, they almost immediately write it off as, nope, don't want anything to do with that. And I can't really blame them, because it's very rarely done enjoyably as of late, I've got to be honest. More often than not, you see it as either pretentious or really cringy humor that loses its novelty after like an hour of gameplay tops. This game is not like that at all. You're seeing something that's done rarely, and done even more rarely as well as this. The idea that there's a ton of, video game culture jokes and remarks. I mean, at one point you're in a sort of Quake or UT-like arena match online with annoying 12-year-olds on mics. Like, seriously, as you're fragging them, the Xbox Live 12-year-olds are yelling at you. It's hilarious. It's done, just everything in this game that I've seen so far is done so well. They pull off the theme. And I know I might be gushing a little bit about this one, but I really like it because I've been a gamer for a long time, since I was 3 years old, yeah, and I'm 23 now, almost 23 next month. I've been through these experiences, a lot of them, not all of them. There are obviously lots of people that have been gaming for longer than me, but I get so many of these, and it's done in, not in the us gamers, right? We're so cool, guys. It's done in a funny but serious and respectful way. And I can't quite get enough of it. It's so fun. Plus the idea that you're going to all these levels with kind of anachronistic equipment like ray guns in World War II or cyber miniguns in an RTS. It's kind of awesome. So, yeah. There you go, guys. This has been Bedlam. Very fun, very interesting, and it's pulling itself off quite well. And one more thing to consider that I think makes it even more special. Hang on, a little more voice acting.
Volunteers: Ross Baker, Jay Solomon, Heather Quinn, Richard Drake. Draco?
Heather Quinn is me.
Jay Solomon is the guy who scanned me. Solderburn. We all worked at Neurosphere.
I think actually isn't Heather Quinn the voice actress's real name? Anyway, so one thing to consider is that whether or not games do the we know we're a video game culture references thing well or not, it's almost never serious. When they do it, well or not, it's done in a very kind of humor-filled way that often loses its edge, and I missed that jump again quite quickly. And it is almost always a kind of throwaway, funny sort of plot, but in this case, the plot, although it has plenty of very funny moments and a lot of, like, wow, that's so true, I remember that kind of moments, it's actually fairly serious. The plot actually has some seriousness to it and some really interesting themes. The idea that, as you're going to hear with this log, it's almost some Talos Principle style stuff. You're like uploaded brains in this place with almost, you know, what are we themes, humanity, and what we're leaving behind in, you know, the whole video game space thing. It's actually tackling some fairly serious stuff.
We can have conversations, share what is going on in our lives, even ask for advice.
It's not just a throwaway plot, and it's not just a meant to be funny, look at us, we're so video games plot. It is actually respectful to video game culture, very explanatory to the kind of things that people old school and new have experienced in this medium, and combined with a nice, serious, interesting, mysterious plot that has some pretty cool themes regarding humanity, what we're leaving behind in the digital age, and, you know, what we are, I guess, in terms of, like, the fact that we have this medium that we're painting, the medium of video games, it's becoming bigger and bigger, what it's going to do for us in the future, and what it means, I guess, for us that we're creating all these things, it's cool. I can't quite get enough of it. The gameplay is very fun, it's quite varied, the weapons and themes help a lot, there's just a huge number of weapons from many eras of FPS and other games, like that weird staff thing, and some RPGs like the Flaming Sword. And the levels themselves not just being window dressing, but also being mechanically different from each other, thematically different from each other. It's good. It's really good stuff. I'd highly recommend it. It's not that expensive. The game is really not expensive at all. I'll link you in the description for the Steam store page for the game. You can get it right now for $20 on Steam, but It seems to go on sale somewhat often, I think, but I think it's going to be a bit more expensive maybe once it's finished. But the latest update on the recent updates page on Steam was the 26th. That's 2 days before the date of recording. And they're constantly talking about what they want to do, the glitch sort of fixes, and not just glitch as in the things in the game, but actual issues. The main issue I have is geometry. Getting stuck on level geometry sometimes happens, and bodies are an issue. Walking and jumping over bodies can be a problem when they stack up. But yeah, that's Bedlam, folks. It's super, super interesting. I really hope you'll check it out. It's got a lot of promise going for it. There's enough content here to really get you interested, and the early access is going very well, with devs faithfully updating it and fixing it. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. I'm going to go through this Unreal Tournament looking place with an RTS staff. You're welcome. Goodbye.